I'm like, what's the dream of? What's the hope in? What's the doubt for? Live to no end. This is living. The life I've been given is a gift. If I'm a living, I'ma live it to death. So what's the dream of? What's the hope in? What's the doubt for? And live to no end. This is living. The life I've been given is a gift. If I'm a living, I'ma live it to death. Yeah.
Everybody, welcome to the Living Hope Agency call. I am sitting here with Hall of Fame producer John Murphy. We are here at the Family First Life corporate office in Connecticut, and John has helped 500 families so far year to date. I'm excited for you guys to hear a little bit about his story. How we doing, John?
What's up, bro? Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course, man. Yes, absolutely. John, tell us a little bit how you got involved with Family First Life, what your experience has been so far.
Sure, man. Thanks for having me again. Appreciate it. So yeah, I started with FFL. It was last September. I actually was doing a construction job. I was laying up on my couch on a workman's comp claim, injured my back, scrolling on TikTok. You know, I saw a video of, I think it was Andrew, Taylor, and Zach talking about, part-time income, right, and what that looks like. And, that income they were talking about at the time was, double what I was making in a month doing my construction job.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I can't go back to work for 6 weeks. So let me kind of dive in and figure out what this job is, what's it about. Tried to, apply on there, get linked up somewhere. And I got linked up with Schmidt here in the corporate area of Connecticut.
Awesome, man. What's been like the number one thing that you love the most about getting into insurance, going from physical labor?
Yeah, so it's a lot less stress on my body. That's for sure. Number
Fair
one,
enough, yeah.
But no, I mean, there was, early mornings. Wake up at 3:30, get into the job by 5. Real no control of my schedule. I'm married at the time last year. I had a newborn baby. Now we just had a second one, so 2 under 2. So being able to, have that more control of my schedule now, and being able to be home for dinner when I need to, or take my daughter to a doctor's appointment, whatever I have to do, have that flexibility to do so, and still, work and produce at the level I want to.
Okay, I love it. For you, what would be some advice that you might give somebody who's looking into this right now that maybe is in a similar position to you and they're not sure if they should take the leap?
Yeah, so I just pretty much, put my back against the wall. So listen, this is what I'm going to do. I have no choice. I kind of just made myself, these are the goals I'm going to hit. I want to, do this full time. I want to make, help X amount of families, within 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, and see how this thing goes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just kind of what I did. I kind of bought into the system. I told myself, okay, I'm going to be coachable because, I don't know anything about insurance. I could, square up a window frame, all is good there, but I had no clue anything about insurance, no carriers, no real prior sales experience. So I said, listen, I'm gonna listen to everything Schmidt tells me to do, and that's what I did.
What was the hardest thing for you coming from no sales into sales, like to learn? Was it mindset? Was it the word tracks? Was it rejection? Like, what was the hardest thing?
I think in the beginning was the rejection on the phones, because I never really made, phone calls like that before. People I'd never met or talked to, tell them, hey, you filled this out, I'm coming over, we're doing this and that. And when these people are like, huh, who are you? What? I'm like, okay, see ya. So it took me a little bit to kind of get structured on the phones, have that mindset. Okay, these people did fill out a form. Because in the beginning, I was like, people like, I didn't fill it out. I'm like, okay, well, maybe these people didn't fill anything. I don't even know what I'm doing, So I think that took a little bit of time, and just getting structured my schedule, and, following the script and realizing that, okay, these people are probably lying to me if they didn't fill it out.
That's a fact. Most people, they lie when you call them on the phone. The only reason, guys, that they're even telling you that they didn't fill it out is simply because they're kind of just annoyed with the process. I mean, that's just the honest truth. Their phone is getting blown up most likely with telemarketers. They filled out multiple forms. They're not just getting called by you, they're getting called by somebody else now. And as soon as you can be super assumptive about why they filled it out, you can be super assumptive about the fact that their phone's blown up with telemarketers. You can kind of kill that right off the bat and reduce that sales pressure. It's like, how do you become the anti-telemarketer? That's what we always talk about. How do you be the person who's different than everybody else on the phone that's calling them? So that's powerful, man. I think dial day is probably the number one thing that most people struggle with when it comes to rejection. For you, you helped 500 families so far this year, and having just started, 16, 17 months ago. Yeah. So like for you, like what was like the turning point where you like went from like, I'm just kind of playing around here to like, I'm just going to go all out, and, I'm going to help 30, 40, 50 families a month. Like did you start out quick? Were you putting up those numbers right away?
My first it probably took me like 2.5 months to help 30 families my first month. I kind of was taking it seriously, but I also made a couple, good commissions, kind of, okay, this is kind of cool. I don't have to, grind 6 days a week like I was doing before. Had some conversations with Schmidt about, what my goals are, what I want to do, and then kind of decided to amp that up starting, January, going to the convention this year. I just kind of went all in on it.
I love it. When you talk about Hall of Fame, I mean, some people, they don't even really realize like what Hall of Fame is, like why that's something you should even strive towards if you're going to strive towards something in this company. Hall of Fame is you've helped 400 families in a single calendar year. So John's already at 500. So he can teach you how to get to 400 because he's got to 500. Nobody can teach you how to do something they haven't done, but he can teach you how to do that. So, what would you say is like the mindset required if you decide, and like, so let's actually back it up before you go to mindset.
Yeah.
Like why would you even want to hit Hall of Fame? Like other than the obvious, like, oh, you can make a bunch of money. Like what is like the reason why hitting Hall of Fame is even something that's worth doing for somebody on here? It's like, well, I'm just trying to make more than I made at my serving job. I'm just trying to make sure I got the bills paid and some extra money to save. Like why is that even a goal that anybody should consider when, sometimes they can make more in a week than they made in a month at their current job,
for sure,
and just kind of take a break.
Yeah. I mean, I think number one, I'm like super competitive.
Yeah.
I want to, do good at everything that I do.
Mhm.
Last year going to convention, seeing all these people get their red jackets at the award ceremony and everything else, like, I was talking my business partner, Fred, and like, dude, we'll be here next year. We just got to bust our ass and do it. And if all these people here can do it, there's no reason why we can't.
Yeah.
So we just went to work and just put the activity in. I mean, grinding 6-7 days a week, doing what we need to do, but also I'm not going to kill myself for if I want to take a day off, I'll take a day off because I've busted my butt all week. That's the beauty of getting into this business, to have some of that family time too, if I wanted to.
I think like the disclaimer there though is like, you're able to take a day off because you earn the day off.
Correct. Yeah.
I think a lot of us, we get into this whole self-employed and we're our own boss for the first time. I know the first time that I became my own boss, and even sometimes still to this day, I'm a horrible boss to myself, and I think most of us self-employed, we're really not that good at holding ourselves accountable. And we think that because I'm self-employed and because I have the opportunity to make, an average of $1,000 commission, if I make one sale, I can just take my foot off the gas. And the honest truth is you absolutely can take your foot off the gas after you do something like that. But like, what's like the detriment to your business if like you decide to not be consistent?
Yeah. Cause I mean, I forget who said it, but self-employed turns into unemployed real quick when you stop working.
There you go.
So, I mean, for me, I just never wanted to get that, especially having, a wife and 2 kids. Like, I'm not going to put myself in a position where I can't provide for them and do the best I can.
What's that like? Cause I know you and I have had some private conversations about how to balance that family life and the work life. And like, I mean, I think people need to hear the honest truth. Like it is hard sometimes.
It's tough, man, for sure. I mean, especially because my wife, right now she still works full time. So, I mean, she gets home, she picks the kids up at 5 at daycare. She goes home, does her thing, gives them dinner, bathes them, puts them to bed, and then she still has other things to do. And I'm out in the field till 8-9 o'clock on run days. I'm not even really available.
Yeah. So, I mean, those, like, I think that, something else we've talked about is like, when you're getting into this business, like you have to have that support from your spouse.
100%.
You have to be on the same page. And I think the biggest myth when you're talking to your spouse in a business like this is people hear, oh, you need to have that conversation with your spouse. Yes, but it's not one conversation.
No.
Like I can guarantee you, John and I are both having that conversation with our wife daily, about, hey, this is why we're doing this. And this is, what we're working towards and why this is so important. And I mean, you miss things.
Yeah.
But I mean, what's for you, like the missing some little things now, like what's that look like in the future if you continue on this trajectory?
Yeah. And that's kind of what I kind of talked to her about and was like, listen, I'm 32 right now. From, I bust our butt and we do what we got to do for the next, 2-3 years, it probably won't be like that forever. It won't. So that's kind of was the conversation that we had, is like, listen, I got to go hard the next couple of years, figure this thing out and do what we got to do. I miss this. I miss, our nephew's, cousin's first birthday party that, everything's going to be okay,
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, with that, I mean, for you, like, talk about like, just what are some like of the hard things? I think sometimes like I almost want to like tell people what it's really like here, because like you look at the marketing and it's like, hey, everybody can come here and they can do XYZ and they can change their life. But like, guys, this isn't easy. Like insurance sales, commission-based sales, it's a grind. And like I almost would rather be honest and truthful of the grind. Like, what would you say, like the grit that is necessary to still be here? Because it's like you can be here a year from now, but like you could be here a year from now just barely surviving, or like you could be thriving. So like, what would you say like that mindset looks like to not just be barely surviving here?
Yeah, because I mean, this can definitely be a lonely business if you're in it alone, I think. So I tried to find a couple people, you know, when I first started, that were kind of like-minded with me. Like Freddie, we've kind of been my running buddy, you know, per se. Talk a good amount on the phone on run days, kind of keep each other motivated, make sure, you know, we're accountable, and, you know, door knocking in between appointments, doing what we have to do to kind of, you know, just be consistent, right? Because it's all this is about, whether I help one family a day or 10 families a day. If I show up, do what I have to do, I, you know, run my appointments, I door knock, I dial. If it's just a repetition, and then I'll be successful because the numbers are going to work out. And I know everyone says that, but it's
sure,
you know,
sure. So what's something that you feel like everybody doesn't necessarily say that you feel like you wish somebody would have told you on day one?
Probably chargebacks suck.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't really know anything about that, to be honest.
So what's your mind? It's like, other than they suck, I mean, no, guys, 20 to 30% everything that you write is gonna fall off the books no matter what. So like, you wake up with a chargeback, what's your mindset?
My mind says, you know, I gotta have a busy day. I just gotta go out there and do more than I might have done, or just door knock more, gonna dial for my car. But I'm also not gonna worry about it too much, right? I'm not gonna let it affect my day. I'm just gonna kind of, you know, I might get emotional about it for a second in the morning, like, you know, that lady, we had such a good rapport. I don't know what happened, you know, whatever. It is what it is. Like you said, 20, 30% are gonna charge back. I'll just kind of, you know, still go about my day and do what I have to do. I'm not gonna get over too, you know, emotional about it and let it ruin my entire day.
I mean, if you just continue to do your job, it'll all take care of itself.
Correct.
I mean, I think that's the major key here. It's that this is a business that, excuse me, it's an advance-based business. We get paid very large upfront commissions for helping families. And if somebody doesn't stay on the books, then there's going to be a negative commission, negative balance. And that's part of this business. It's not something to be afraid of. The time that it's time to be something to be afraid of is if you sell one policy a month, you sell one policy, you sell 10 policies next week, but then you sell no policies the next week, and then 5 policies next week, and then no policies the next 2 weeks. That's when it's time to be afraid, because there's no consistency there, and you're putting, you know, not just, you know, your business in jeopardy, you're putting your insurance license in jeopardy. Like, you're going to be on your way out of this business if you don't treat it like a business. So if you're going to be part-time, but, you know, be full-time in your part-time hours. I think that's something that's important. And then when you're full-time, you treat it like a business. I mean, this is a business. And at the end of the day, we have expenses, we buy leads, and people cancel. Those are some of the realities. Like, this is hard. It's a journey. People are going to quit. People are going to say no. People are going to cancel their policies. But there's also going to be a lot of people who say yes. And there's also going to be a lot of people who keep their policies, love their policies. And you're going to have people who die with their policies active, and you're going to pay out a fat check to their family. And that's powerful. Have you had a death claim yet?
I have had one death claim.
Okay. And was that like a wake up call for you in any way?
It was, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, you know how it happened? This is a weird story. I was running an appointment in Springfield. I was like driving around the corner, and I was passing a previous house that I sold a policy to. And the guy was outside. I'm like, hey, what's up, Raymond? How you doing? Like, how's things been? Like, just talking to my window. He's like, oh, I'm not Raymond, I'm his brother. He's like, oh, Raymond died 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
I was like, what? So that's how I found out.
Man, that's a
True story, dude. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Well, let's kind of shift gears here a little bit. Let's talk about let's give some word tracks. Like, what are some things that you do either on the phone or in the home, some word tracks or things that you say that someone else can walk away from this? If they wrote in their notes, they can implement into their day tomorrow.
Yeah. So, I mean, as far as on the phones, I'm just super kind of talk just like this the whole time. I'm not going to get too emotional, too up, too down. I kind of talk like the old, 30-year vet of the state office. Like, I'm retiring next week, low and slow. And I pretty much just tell the people, this is, you fill out the form. The underwriter's coming over to take care of it for you. If they say no, I tell them I'm still coming over to drop it off to them. So either way, if they fill the form out, I'm going to come over and do my job. Right. And as far as when I'm in the home, I mean, we talked about this earlier today, was, setting the table, right? Letting them know, what to expect the entire appointment. Because like you said earlier, I've been doing this for a while now, is I don't want to deal with any objections. If I'm gonna deal with any objections, it's gonna be within the first like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I want to get those out of the way. either we're doing something today, which is what I'm here for, or if we're totally not, then at least I've only wasted 10 minutes of my time.
Fair enough. Walk me through, knock on the door. So we set the appointment.
Mhm.
We'll call it a final expense appointment.
Sure,
We'll just
yeah.
role play it real quick. Knock on the door, take me to the table and get me through your open.
Yep. So I'm like, okay, Jamie, this is the form you filled out here. I slide it over with my state license. So I can verify me and everything. I said, okay, most people, I find fill this out for one of a couple of the reasons to send it in. Number one, they don't have any sort of insurance, so they need my help getting something going. Number two, maybe you have a little bit of policy already, because it'd be super weird if you didn't, right? Or three, someone's recently passed away, right? So which one of those do you relate the most to?
I don't have any insurance.
Okay, gotcha, no worries. You're like 99% of the people I sit down with, so we'll take care of that for you today. Okay?
I have a feeling no matter what I answered, I'm like 99%.
99.
You sit with. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
not everyone. So I just kind of go through, why they filled it out, bring out the beneficiary, what they're looking to accomplish, and that kind of go into setting the table of what they can expect.
Yeah, set the table for us.
Yeah, it's perfect. So, all right, Jamie, now I kind of know why I'm here, how this appointment's going to kind of go. I'm asking you a few basic, medical questions, a couple more financial questions about you. Okay, then I'm pretty much gonna do all the shopping for you today, because there's nothing to really think about, because all we're doing is submitting the application for coverage, see if you can actually get approved.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay, perfect. There's my state license. I pull out my credibility sheet. These are the carriers that we work with. Mutual Loma, AHE. America is really popular. It's tough to qualify for, but that's one of our better ones.
Yeah.
And then I kind of go from there.
So you prime them for America, but you also you kill shopping. You
Yeah.
kill think about it right away. Guys, we're gonna do all the shopping around for you today. So basically there's no reason for you to have any other appointments.
It's a one-stop shop, yeah.
One-stop shop, and you got nothing to think about. Hey, most people do want to think about it, but just like you guys want to think about it, the insurance company has to think about you first. So we're gonna go ahead and submit a request for coverage. If you do get approved, we'll have something to think about.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's super simple. So, now, you use a financial inventory, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So, what kind of things are you pulling out of the financial inventory? Because I know people look at it and they go, oh, it's just the thing that I do to find out how much they make and what kind of medications they take. But it's like, it's what you do with that information. So like for you, how are you leveraging a financial inventory to kind of like paint the picture back to them, like why they might need the insurance?
Yeah. So what I do is I actually talk about their income. And I spend probably a little more time on income and expenses, because I want to make sure, okay, I'm only going to use their disposable income.
Yeah.
And if they come back with me, oh, I can't afford it. Oh, perfect, Jamie, I get it. Remember how we talked about here, this is your disposable income. And then we even added like another $300 in for miscellaneous stuff. You probably like getting your hair done or whatever. So it's definitely in your budget, right? So I spent a little more time on that. Okay. I talk about the beneficiary a little bit, break down their medications, prescriptions, medical conditions. And then if it's a mortgage appointment, I'm killing someone off and doing that and their income and whatnot. Even a final expense though, if it's a his and
Okay,
hers.
so let's do a his and hers final expense. What does killing somebody off on paper look like?
Yeah, so if I go through, let's say your income and Shelby's income, she's sitting here with us here. So let's say, you make 10,000, she makes 5,000, right? So let's say if, Jamie doesn't come home tomorrow with that $10,000 income's gone, what does that look like for you? And kind of go from there and paint that picture of, okay, you have a $3,000 mortgage, car payment, this, there's no money. So how are we going to make that up here? Are you going to sell the house and move in with Johnny, or what are you going to do?
And those conversations are hard sometimes.
Yeah.
You got to let them answer. I think that's one of the important things. You got Bob and Mary. You go, Mary, what are you going to do? And then Bob starts answering. You got to look at Bob. You say, Bob, with all due respect, in this exercise, you're dead. I need you to let Mary answer. And it's like super uncomfortable at first, but it's also really powerful because Bob, I want you to answer after this. I want you to give her the advice, but just for the purpose of the exercise, I need Mary to answer first.
Because if you were dead, you wouldn't be able to say.
Because if you were dead, you wouldn't be able to give her any advice. Let's give her all the advice after this exercise. But here, like, you're dead, Mary. What happens if Bob dies? And a lot of times they tear up a little bit and they're like, I don't know. Sometimes they get a little bit like, oh, well, I'd figure it out. And then like, if someone's like, oh, I would just figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
You got to dig a little bit deeper.
Yeah, I know what figured out means to me. What does that mean to you? I have no clue what that means. So tell me about that.
Yeah.
How would you figure it out?
And you got to kind of challenge people, because I think that when you're trying to pull the why out of people, like a lot of people would stop at the, oh, I just figured it out. Oh, okay. Next question.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next question.
That's what I used to do.
Yeah.
I would just say, okay, cool. You'll figure it out. On to the next thing. But now I kind of try to, dig deeper and unwrap
Yeah.
that a little
It's
more.
the same thing in the beginning. Why'd you guys fill this out? We were just looking for quotes. Oh, you're just looking for quotes. Gotcha. Next. It's like, you were looking for quotes for what? For the life insurance. The life insurance to cover what?
Yeah.
Like, why do you want it? We just were looking for quotes, but do you want it? What do you want the quotes to cover? Like,
What's
what do
the
you,
quote? The quote's
what's-
gonna do nothing.
it's,
What do
yeah,
you
what's the
mean?
quote going to do for your family? You know, you have to dig deeper. And then like, when you finally pull that out of somebody, like, that's where you're like, okay, and that's why we're here, you know, and now you can leverage that for the rest of the appointment. What are some other things that you do in the home? Let's pretend that you did not, set the table well, but you still want to go down fighting. What's like the most common objection you get at the end if you do get one?
It's pretty much like, like, oh, I'm not giving you my banking information, or, oh, I can't afford it, or whatever the case may be. So what I do is, all my in-home appointments, I collect a voided check, right? So, and I have a book of financial inventory, like all blank ones. But every time I do an appointment, I shove the lead sheet in the voided check. So when I'm going through, when I show them the credibility sheet, then I'm flipping through my book, and they're seeing voided check after voided check after voided check after voided check after voided check, and people have already helped out. So when that comes time, I typically don't get the voided check one, but if I do, when I'm banking, I'm like, oh yeah, remember, like, these are like the 40 people I've already recently helped out here. This is like Mrs. Jones running account number.
Gosh.
You know, so I just have it there so they can see, okay, like, because people want to do what everyone's doing.
Yeah, no, that's
If
good.
they see all the voided checks, it's not gonna be, I'm not trying to make it weird.
No, that's good. I haven't done that before.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. I think another common one is like, we need to think about it.
Yeah.
So how do you overcome that?
I'm just like, I totally understand you want to think about it. I get it. You know, I'd probably want to think about it too if I were you, but there's nothing to really think about yet until we have the actual policy here with an approval in the house. I can come back and go over with you. Because until then, we don't even know if you're approved, Jamie. So you're saying you got to think about it, it's just a little bit weird.
So what's your closing question? Because it's like, some people will go, so John, do you want to submit an application? No, I don't. So it's like, you're asking them versus telling them, here's what we're going to do. Like, what is your, like, telling them, here's what we're going to do, here's the next step to actually get them to make the close?
Yeah, so I pretty much, once I have their beneficiary information, I'm like, okay, Jamie, just go grab me your ID for the banking ID for ID verification, and void check for the banking verification, so we can submit this application through. I don't really get a lot of pushback. If I get the pushback, it's like back when I'm doing the price.
So what's your price question? So like, some people it's, I do 3 options or one top down.
I typically do 3. Lately, I don't know why I've been like giving them 20 grand and like, do you want more or less for some reason? I don't know where I picked it up from.
Yeah.
But typically I do, 3 different options, and they tend to pick the middle one.
Okay. Yeah. So like my 3 option close was always, now Bob, Mary, we don't know if you can get approved, but if you could get approved, which one of these do you think would make the most sense?
Yeah.
The middle one. Okay, perfect. Go grab that voided check in your driver's license and we'll get started. And if they get up from the table to go get it, then you got the sale.
Yeah.
But if they don't, if they don't get up, like, I'm usually like, I'll like ask it, but I don't look them in the eyes. I'm not like looking them in their eyes. Like, go grab me your driver's license.
Yeah, I'm on my tablet.
I'm looking down at my paper. I'm like, and go grab me your driver's license and avoid a check. And I don't even look up. I don't say a word. And like, I've sat there in silence for a good amount of time before. And I'm just like, don't break.
Yeah.
And they get up and they go get it. Or
the best is when they walk over, they just give you your ID and they sit back down. I'm like, okay, great.
And the check.
I don't really, I need this, but I don't really need it. So
Yep.
Hey, I just need that voided check. So I gotta be out here in 5 minutes. I know you're super busy. So if you can just grab it for me real quick.
Why do you need a check?
I guess you don't need a check.
No. So like, why, if I'm the client?
Oh,
Why,
yeah.
why do you need my check?
I just need the bank, the carrier's got to verify to make sure you don't need to do any fraudulent activities, file for bankruptcy in the last 6 months. So I just got to fax that in with the application.
Are they like going to take money out right away? Like, what happens?
They don't take any money out today, Jamie, because right now we're just submitting the application. It'll take a couple days for them to fully approve you. And then once you do get approved, they'll mail you out the policy take that first payment out. And once you get it, just call me so I can come back and review with you. And if we have to make any changes to beneficiary or go up and down the coverage, that's when we can do so.
Yeah, exactly. So I think one of the big things when you guys do get anything on the back end, when you get, hey, why do you need my social? Hey, why do you need my bank info? Hey, are they going to take money out today? rather than like getting like emotional and like trying to overcome the objection with like the perfect word track, sometimes you just need to like slow down and re-explain the process. So, hey, like I said, they are just needing that bank info so they can verify that you are who you say you are. There's no fraud being committed, that the same person who is buying the insurance is the same person who is actually going to be insured. And at the end of the day, yes, if it does get approved, they are going to take that first payment, and you're going to have 30 days to make a final decision, make any adjustments up or down, make any changes. You can go ahead and give me a call. Like, go ahead and grab that for me. And it's just sometimes you have to slow down, and sometimes people are just asking to kind of throw a wrench at you to see what you do. Like, if you get weird about it, they probably won't go get it.
Yeah.
But if you just, so why do you need the check? So you can pay for it. Like, oh, okay. And then they went and grab the check. And it's just like, so you just can't be weird about it.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, if you did a good job setting the table in the front end, we're going to submit a request for coverage today. And if you get approved, you know, that's a good thing, you know, and you want to set that on the front end. Because like, guys, our intention is that like, you're going through this whole appointment with the intent that they want the insurance. Like, I think you have to understand that like the amount of closing you've already done before they even go grab the check, the amount of yeses you've already gotten, there's almost no reason they shouldn't go get the check unless you're doing something to be weird and make them feel weird or feel pressured in some way, or like they don't trust you, because you already set the appointment. And when you got on the phone with them, you said, hey, you know, John, you know, is this what you were looking for or something different? He says, yes, that's exactly what I was looking for. First close. Then he goes, yeah, you can come over 7:00 on Tuesday, second close. They told you this is what I'm looking for. And yes, you're allowed to come over. You go to the front door and you knock. Hey, I'm here for our appointment. Yeah, come on in. Third close. Hey, let's go over here to the kitchen table. Fourth close. Hey, here's what we're going to do today. Does that make sense? Fifth close. Hey, your financial inventory here. If what I'm seeing is correct, this is why a solution like this would make sense. Wouldn't you guys agree? Sixth close. Like, you're just like, you're closing them over and over and over again. They've said yes that many times. So it's like when you get to that final, hey, which one of these makes the most sense? The middle one, go grab the check.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, well, why?
What do you mean? Yeah,
like,
it doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen unless, like, when it happens, and it happens to me sometimes still, not often, but I know it's about to come because I'm feeling like I'm crawling in my skin, getting ready to ask the question. Like, when I feel awkward, like, I'm like, okay, I'm about to ask the check question.
Yeah.
Like, when I feel like that, they always give me an objection every single time. But when I'm just like feeling fully confident, like they filled this out, they let me come over, they already said why this was so important, they're bought in. Now I just have to be as bought in as they are, that they want it. And when I ask them for it, like, they should go get it because I'm telling them to go get it because it's important and they know it's important. So if you're getting the objection at the end, again, like, there's nothing wrong. Like, you get an objection at the end, it can be overcome, but it's like, it's a lot more fighting. Like, it's like, okay, put on my boxing gloves. Me and this client are going to box a little bit over objections and we'll see who wins. Or we don't fight at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I just overcome every objection on the front end. And it's so strong that when I tell you to do what I tell you to do, you go do it. So I think that's just an important, distinction, that the harder you set the table, the better you set the table, the less objections you'll get. But you are going to get some objections, and sometimes you got to throw on your boxing gloves because it's worth it to go to bat with a client and to challenge them a little bit. You know, I've never left a home where I've challenged somebody and made the sale, whether they canceled or not, and said, "Oh man, like, I wish I didn't sell that person some insurance." Like, the cool thing about this business is, like, I've never left a home being like, "Man, I sold the crap out of that person." You know, I've always been like, I help that person, regardless of what happens in the long term with their policy. I always felt good because it's something that we're selling that matters. So let's talk a little bit about if somebody else wants to just become a student of the game and they want to do as much activity as you're doing. What kind of lead flow would they need to put in? Like, what are you spending per week on leads to get yourself enough opportunities to help 500 families in a year?
I would say I'm spending probably around $3,000 a month. I mean, a week. I'm sorry.
$3,000 a week.
Yeah.
Okay, so $3,000 a week equals how many families a month?
40 to 50.
40 to 50.
Yeah.
Okay, so about 12 turns into about 50 families.
Yeah,
okay,
I would say 12 to 15.
Yeah, sure.
Somewhere around
12
there.
to 15.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, you're looking at, 4 to 5x on what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and guys, here's the thing, is that everybody obviously is different. There's some people come to this business and they buy aged leads,
Sure.
3-month-old leads. They're $300 a piece, and they go and somehow help 10 families off of $300, and their ROI is crazy.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, it's having enough names and phone numbers to call to have the number of appointments to be able to help enough families to be able to buy some more leads, to be able to do it again over and over and over again.
And I started with $1,000. That's all I had
Hmm.
in my bank account.
And talk a little bit about, if that's all you had, what is, like, if you didn't just like take your first commission and go to Disney World, like you put it back in.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah,
Okay,
I put it all back in.
So what's your advice for somebody to, like, if all they've got is
I
that
still
lead
haven't been
money?
to Disneyland, bro.
Hey, there you go.
Not yet.
Not yet. So what does it look like for a new agent to make their first lead purchase and reinvest and keep reinvesting?
Yeah, so I mean, I would just say obviously leads are auction in this business. I've didn't want to take all my money that I made in my first couple weeks and go, buy a brand new car. Right. I wanted to make sure I was able to pay my bills, reinvest back in the business, buy more leads, and just kind of do the same thing week in and week out. Just continue to pay my bills, pay off some credit cards, and just have more financial security. I kind of build up a little bit of a nest egg too, where I'm selling enough insurance where, finances are in a better position. There's not as much, stress or whatever that I had when I first started, and just kind of give myself, more opportunity to, if Schmidt says, hey, I got, 14 leads that came in, do you want them? Yes. I was just like the yes man. I was just buying whatever I could.
That's good. Okay, so any final advice for somebody here? Well, we said we were gonna talk about convention. So,
Oh yeah,
like, why should somebody on here, if they are deciding if they should come to the Miami convention, like why should they go? And like, what's gonna be like the difference you think in between somebody who goes versus someone who doesn't go?
yeah. I mean, if you don't go, I would just plan on, quitting 6 weeks after and just not being here anymore. Probably. I would say you could still be here, but I think if you go, it's going to catapult you to the next level. So if you're doing, 10 families a month now, I think convention is a great place to go. You'll meet a lot of people that are really, really good in this job, in this business. Be able to get a lot of good, information, a lot of good guest speakers, and really just kind of, for me, that's what helped me kind of catapult to, this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's also like the relationships. Like you and I met at convention last year,
true. Yeah, we did.
So it's like you can meet people in the hallways. Like you can go up to people and you can ask them, what they're doing. Like I went to my first convention, I found Zach Tardowski, and I was like, dude, like, what do you do to set the table? Like Grady went to his first convention, and he talked to Jack Yu about no shows, and he's like, what do I do to prevent no shows? And he's like, you got to be busier. Instead of booking at 6:30 and 7:30, you got to book at 6:15 and 6:45. Like who books on 15 and 45 except for busy people? And he's like, oh, mind blown. And it's like you find that person in the hallway, and who was it? Isaiah Tademi. What he does with his agents, he puts them on a scavenger hunt, and he goes, hey, I want you to go find these 20 Hall of Fame producers and ask them this question. And I think and the thing is, it's cheesy, and he like gives a prize out for whoever completes the scavenger hunt, but like the person who completes it actually got so much out of it.
I was gonna
to be able to
say,
go talk to like 20 Hall of Fame producers or 20 board members, and they ask whatever that question is. And I think that's such a powerful thing. So it's like, it's the information you'll learn, obviously. It's the relationships that you'll build, but it's just also like the confidence in this company, the confidence in Sean Mike, the confidence in where this business is going. And like, we're all along on that ride. Like the company's growing, you can grow just as the company grows too, guys. So like, if I were you, like, I'd find a way to get there. I mean, it's like, what's it cost to get there versus what's it worth?
I just booked my flight. It was like $300.
$300. Okay. So $300 on a flight.
Yeah.
And then let's say you spend, we're going to go on a very high end. You don't have any roommates here, and you pay $200-300 a night for 4 nights. Another 1,200. So now you're looking like 1,500 plus food. So let's call it 2,000. We're just going to go way overestimate. And if you're paying 2,000 to come to convention, you're overpaying, and we should look at your booking. But let's just say you pay 2,000 to come to convention, and you learn how to help 400 families next year. What was it worth? Like, was it worth spending the money to go to the event, to be able to help 10 families a week, every week? Like, some people look at it, well, there's no way that I could make that work. Well, it's like, I look at it as, what if it could catapult and springboard your learning and earning to a point where you actually start thriving sooner? Like, maybe it takes you 9 months to figure this out without convention, or it takes you 2 months to figure it out with convention. 9 months of not plugging into anything and just banging your head against the wall, helping 2-3 families a week, barely making your lead money back and just figuring it out. Or you go to convention and you start helping 10 families every single week, and you start getting ahead, and the life that you've been looking for is here a lot sooner. rather than stretching it out, because this is like one of the most lonely businesses in the world if you don't get around people. Like conventions, like a battery charger. Like I feel like everyone works so hard all year. It's like they show up to convention with like, you get your iPhone, it's at like 2% battery, and they come to convention and just like they're at like 150% battery, like full battery with another battery pack ready to go back out into the field, back onto the phones. And it's so powerful to go to an event like this. So I mean, there's really not much more, that I can say. And obviously you work hard, you can get rewarded. John's
Sure,
gonna
yeah.
get to walk across stage and get his red jacket here for hitting Hall of Fame this year, which is going to be awesome. And, again, you guys, I came to my first convention, I wasn't walking across the stage, but I sat there and I watched everybody else and I said, you know what, if that dude over there, if John Murphy can do it, if
Yeah.
Eric Schmidt can do it, like, why can't I? And like, I think that's one of the other powerful things that happens there. So we want to see you guys there. Not for us, but for you, because we've seen what it can do for so many people, just dozens and dozens and dozens of stories of people coming to these events and it changing their life. Final advice here as we're kind of signing
Yes, sir.
off. Someone's deciding if they should go all in or not with this business. What should they do?
I would definitely, surround yourself with people that are all in, people that are like, so when I first started, I wanted to surround myself with people that were doubling the production what I was doing. So if I was doing helping 20 families a month, I wanted to talk to people that are doing 40 families a month. What are they doing that I'm not doing? Right. So I want to just, be coachable, listen to those people, not listen to the person that was, doing 10, 15 families a month that was equal to me or less to me. Because they're not where I want to be. Right. So I wanted to surround myself with people that have been doing it, that have been there, pick their brain, annoy the crap out of them, call them every day, figure out what they're doing. Oh, they're door knocking more than me, or oh, they're booked more appointments than me. What is it exactly does it look like? So I would suggest find people that are like that. You guys can hit me up if you want to. Absolutely. My number is 860-751-8011. You can get it from Jamie. Yeah, if you're serious about this business, I would definitely be at convention and go all in, because it can definitely change your life.
Awesome, guys. Well, hey, everybody have an amazing night. Monday, dial day. It's still early over there on the West Coast. There's still a couple hours here on the East Coast. I got a couple late appointments tonight and excited, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun going to convention. Also, it doesn't hurt to come into Christmas not broke. I'll just say that. So it's always, what do we say with Thanksgiving? The turkey tastes better on Thanksgiving when you helped a bunch of families. Guys, just the presence and the time with your family, like not getting presents, but like the presence with your family, where like you actually can be present without thinking about work. You can be all in. It feels a lot better when you did your job the weeks before. So also, the new year doesn't start on January 1st. The new year starts on December 26th, the day after Christmas, when a bunch of us are going to be working still all the way up through the new year. So we're going to be working and we'll be here. Anything y'all need, reach out. Excited. Everybody have a great night. Thanks, John. Talk to y'all soon.
See ya.
Peace out, guys.